What's going on, guys? My name is Kalen Vasher, and you are now tuned into another episode of the Kalen Vasher Show. Before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to everybody listening and or watching. As always, you guys are much appreciated. And again, if you want to connect with me and talk about anything basketball or sports in general, my social media links are down below on the screen as well as down below in the description box for those of you watching on YouTube. Game 3. Lakers lost again. And honestly, I don't necessarily really know where to go with the Lakers after their Game 3 loss. Quite honestly, I feel like I'm on the team. I feel like I let the Laker faithful down. I'm just kidding. But man, it's demoralizing. Like any team being down 3-0 would be. But for some reason, like this one is stinging just a little bit more because in my eyes, even though the Nuggets have been the number one seed in the Western Conference for most of the regular season and have been playing like the number one seed in the playoffs, I don't want to say that they're not a better team than the Lakers because they clearly are. You clearly have a better mesh of players than the Lakers had, more consistent players than the Lakers have had all season. So they're definitely the better team. But just talent-wise, and I know I kind of touched on it last episode, the Kevin Durant quote, hard work beats talent when talent fails to work. But I don't know, man. It just sucks watching this Lakers team because every single game, it's like they're right there. There's multiple points during the game where it's like, okay, this is where the turns start. This is where, they finally build up some momentum and can build a lead to 12 or 15 points. And every single time the league gets to about 3, maybe 4 for the Lakers, and then all hell breaks loose. Turnovers happen, missed shots, no one can hit a shot. An injury, LeBron will roll an ankle or tweak an ankle, or AD will get up gingerly. Like it's just never, consistent, good basketball for 4 quarters. Either the first quarter is really good and they step off the gas, or for whatever reason, they can't get things going in the second and third. The first half is trash as a whole. And then all of a sudden in the second half, it's too late, but they're finally starting to put the pieces together like we've seen in Game 1. So as a Laker fan, as a Laker supporter, I should say, that's probably the one thing that's most frustrating of them all. Never mind the fact that Jamal Murray literally had 30 points in the first half. Jamal Murray had 30 points in the first half. Go back to my very first video on this series. I said Jamal Murray needed to have 25 plus a game for the Nuggets to legitimately have a shot. And he's been tearing it completely up. Again, 30 in the first half, LA, from a guy coming back off of an ACL. Like, y'all didn't have an answer. And I get it. They're all pros. They're all really talented scorers. They all got to this point by being very talented basketball players. But in the first half, 30. And there were a few shots in the first half where after he had already gotten hot, he was still getting open looks, no matter if it was off screen, off of busted plays. And I just feel like at some point you have to know where the player that's cooking is. Again, like Jokic didn't even have a big game. And that's another reason that I thought this would be a reason the Lakers could pull this one out, just because, after the second half or after the first half, Jamal Murray took a little bit to get going. He was stuck at that 30-point threshold from about halftime until about midway into the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter. So it was like he necessarily didn't come out and give y'all 50 again. He just kept it kind of a cool 30-point, 35 point game night. And for the Lakers still not to be able to pull out a very, very winnable game at home where they've been dominant during the postseason. That was their first L that they had taken at home in the postseason. Again, man, it just sucks. I did want to say shout out to Austin Reeves, because Austin Reeves legitimately looked like the only player that seemed like he wanted to play last night. The only player that seemed like he had that fire, that seemed like he didn't want to lose. LeBron looked lethargic at some times. AD looked at some moments. Jared Vanderbilt and D'Angelo Russell, guys that I feel like are very, very key role players that I even said at the beginning of the series they would be very key. They didn't necessarily seem like they wanted it. Rui Hachimura gave us a lot of good quality minutes off the bench. But, yeah, man, as a whole, like the Lakers just didn't seem like they were playing with a sense of urgency. They weren't playing like they had their backs against the wall getting ready to go down 3-0. They played like they were comfortable in being down 0-2. And I feel like the final score reflected that. And, now that their backs are truly against the wall and they're down 3-0, you got to look in the mirror. You got to make the necessary adjustments because getting swept on your home floor in the Western Conference Finals would be demoralizing. Let's just call a spade a spade. It would be absolutely demoralizing. So they can't let it happen, nor do I think it'll happen. But also, I picked the Lakers in 6. And so now I always said that if this went 7 and the Lakers had to go back on the road to win Game 7 in Denver, they would not do it. And so, of course, like anybody, this isn't a hot take. It's Denver's series to lose. One thing that I will say, LeBron, love you, man. You're my GOAT. I defend you till the wheels fall off. You got to stop shooting, man. I'll put the tweet up on the screen, but I also tweeted out last night. You got to stop shooting the 3-ball. I know that you had really, 2 good looks that went in back to back towards the end of the second half or second quarter, but stop shooting, respectfully. The Lakers are so much better when they're in transition. They're a lot better offensively in transition. LeBron is still, in my eyes, a top 5 player when he's in transition. And I also do wonder, is the foot injury, I'm not trying to make excuses. I swear. But is the foot injury one of the main reasons that we've been seeing LeBron settle for so many 3-point shots? Because if we're keeping it real, there's not really anybody on Denver's front line that can stop LeBron going to the hole. Even when you're running that 2-man action with him and AD coming off of screens and making Nikola Jokic decide where he wants to go. Does he want to step up and stop LeBron? Like, I wouldn't even be mad at LeBron taking a few mid-range free throw line jump shots, but it's just the fact that LeBron's game had become so – it's either going to be I'm in transition, running the lane, running down the middle of the floor, flailing for a foul call, or I'm going to settle for a jump shot. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to jab step a few times, let the shot clock roll down, and then I'm stuck in a situation where I have to throw up a 3-point jump shot. And I just feel like that is so it's so I don't necessarily even know the word that I'm looking for, but it's so uncharacteristic of Braun than I've seen the past few years, and that I've seen his whole career. So that's one of the most frustrating things is when we see LeBron driving in transition and we see the Lakers actually getting out in transition and getting out on the break, and good things happen. You get wide open jump shots. You get to the line where the Lakers have been the most successful team in the NBA postseason and during the regular season. But it's just like getting to that point. It's like we watch the Lakers do 4 great things, and then for the rest of the quarter, it's just a bunch of this. It's just a bunch of what's going on. They kept Jokic in check in the first half. He only had 5 points, 3 rebounds. He has 3 fouls, so he's in foul trouble. Didn't play a lot in the second quarter. And again, that's just another frustrating part of the Game 3 loss. It's just the fact that they did such a good job at containing Jokic, but Jamal Murray got off. Bruce Brown hit a lot of timely jump shots and the one floater during the third quarter or the fourth quarter that I could vividly remember. KCP hit a lot of jump shots. And another thing that's very, very frustrating, Michael Porter Jr. doesn't want to do anything but catch and shoot the ball. From somebody that watches at home, I don't understand how the Lakers haven't figured out, you know what? We haven't really seen Michael Porter Jr. put the ball on the floor and actually make an attempt to go to the hole and score. Not saying that isn't part of his game, but What we've seen from Michael Porter Jr. pretty much every time he touches the ball, he catches it in rhythm and it's going up, no matter if it's contested or not. So for the Lakers, why aren't y'all denying him the ball? Why aren't y'all literally getting up into his headspace until the point where he has to put the ball on the ground? He can't even get a jump shot off. Um, Again, once he shows y'all that he's a threat driving to the rim, which he is, but once he finally shows y'all that he's that threat in this series and that he's actively looking to drive the ball to the hole, then you make the adjustment and y'all go from there. But to just sit there and continuously watch him do the same things over and over and over and over again all series that we've seen him do all season long, it's frustrating. He doesn't do anything but catch and shoot threes. Um, One thing also that I want to get into is Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves, I touched on it a second ago, how he was one of the only players that truly looked like he wanted to be there last night. But just a little Austin Reeves appreciation moment right here. Got to give him his flowers. Uh, he's a hooper. And what I mean by that is he's just a good basketball player. And that's one reason that he's going to stick around in the league. That's one reason that he's going to get paid this offseason. That's one of the reasons why, if the Lakers somehow do come back from this 3-0 deficit and win an NBA Finals, I feel like he would be a true contender for the NBA Finals MVP award. Austin Reeves is living proof that you don't have to be the most athletic. You don't have to be the most, or you don't have to shoot the ball crazy. You don't have to play stupendous defense. Like, if you're just a solid all around basketball player, everything will fall into place for you. And that's one thing that I feel like a lot of younger players growing up need to watch. They need to watch more guys like Austin Reeves, and they need to watch more role players in the NBA, because not everybody can be LeBron. Not everybody can be Jason Tatum. Not everybody can be Steph. Not everybody can be KD. Um, and that's where a lot of players make their money. Austin Reeves is going to be able to start building generational wealth off of being a role player in the NBA. And I just feel like a lot of times people get so caught up with watching highlights and seeing guys put up big scoring numbers. But when you actually watch basketball games, Austin Reeves is playing his heart out. He's going for rebounds whenever he has to. Uh, the way that he's crafty when he gets to the lane, he's not just a catch and shoot guy. He's obviously dangerous when he's um, in the role of being a jump shooter, but just the little subtle pump fakes and drives to the hole that he does, and his fundamentals, I hate to keep harping on it, but his fundamentals are crazy. The way that he can come to a jump stop on 2 feet, um, establish a pivot foot, use the pivot foot effectively to get guys in the air and draw fouls and get to the line. Uh, it's one of the main reasons, again, Austin Reeves is going to stick around and he's going to be in this league for a long, 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 long time. And again, that's another reason he's going to get paid this offseason. Onto the Nuggets side of the ball, just gonna give y'all one of these. Just gonna clap it up. Um, the Nuggets have truly established themselves as finals front runners, and the teams that they've had to go through to get here, their road to the finals is pretty tough if you look at it. I mean, I know a lot of teams weren't constructed, well enough roster wise and depth wise like the Nuggets were to contend. But anytime you have to go through the Timberwolves and you have players like Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, and Anthony Edwards, that's tough. No matter what seed they are, they're a really good team full of really good players. Nuggets handled them. Then you put up with two of the best players in the league, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Chris Paul was obviously out for a lot of games. He missed a lot of time. But again, you still have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Anytime you can go through those two guys and really dominate in the fashion that they did, shows their championship prowess. And now that we're in this Lakers series, you're up 3-0 on a team in a lot of people's eyes that you came in being the underdog with. Um, I know that the books probably will have the Nuggets as the favorite to win the series or had them to win the series. But from the outside looking in, a lot of people were saying this is the Lakers series to lose, myself included. So you just got to give those guys got to give them a lot of respect for for what they've been able to do during the postseason and what they'll continue to do. Um, I know people all are already talking about a finals matchup between the Nuggets and the Heat and how boring that would be. And although ratings would probably be down, at the end of the day, they're going to be the best, or that could possibly be the best two teams in the league, or the best two teams during the playoffs, the healthiest teams, the teams that got hot at the right time. And one thing that LeBron said the other day, that this isn't March Madness. You have to be the team four times, and that is very much true. But just like March Madness, if you get right at the, or if you get hot at the right time, if you get hot the end of April going into March, going into playoff time, or March going into April going into playoff time, you're a really, really good team, and it's going to be tough to beat you. I don't care who you are. The Heat struggled all year. They had their injury problems. They had their shooting problems. They were in the play-in, and they lost their first play-in game. But it's just the fact that they kept fighting and they got hot at the right time. Jimmy started clicking at the right time. You had a few big games from Kyle Lowry. Kevin Love came into the lineup and started giving you valuable minutes at the right time of the season. And so, for people talking about this will be a very boring finals, can't say that I agree. It's gonna hoop. It's gonna be hoops. That's what it's really gonna come down to. You're gonna have your hoopers, like guys like Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray, and you're gonna have your guys like Jimmy Butler and Nikola Jokic. Um, and yeah, man, the Celtics and Heat play tonight actually, so you guys will be getting a game three recap of that after they finish up. But with the conference finals starting to look like they're going to come to an end pretty soon, depending on what happens tonight in tonight's Miami and Boston game. Uh, what do you guys think is going to happen in the finals? Depending on who it is. If you think that the Lakers come back and win in seven, who do they face? How do they fare after having to play a seven-game grueling series? If you think the Nuggets win in five or four or whatever the case may be, how do you think they fare up against the Eastern Conference matchups? But I think the finals are going to be very entertaining this year. I think that there's going to be a lot to offer. There's going to be a lot of smart, good basketball being played. Not to throw shots at Darvin Ham, but when you look at the other three head coaches still involved in this system, especially um, Mike Malone and Eric Spoelstra, those are two really good established coaches in this league. Mike Malone coaches super duper hard for his team. Voice is almost gone in almost every interview I hear him doing. So you can never be upset with a coach like that. And he just wants the best for his players. So really, really excited to see what happens for the rest of the playoffs, as well as what goes on once we get to the finals. So just wanted to step in here real quick, give my game three recap. Going to get in here and watch this Miami and Boston game three tonight. Prediction just off the head before the game starts. Let's say I feel like Boston will pull one out in Miami. Will it be tonight? I'm gonna go ahead and say yeah. But even if it's not tonight, I feel like Boston does come out of Miami with at least one victory. So again, that's all I got for you guys today on the game three from the Lakers and the Nuggets. As always, again, if you want to connect with me and talk about anything basketball or sports in general, please reach out to me using my links down below. And I will see you guys